Why is it that some people seem to turn every challenge into a victory while others feel stuck, overwhelmed, or defeated? Here's the truth, it's not luck, talent, or circumstance, it's their mindset. In The Power of Positive Thinking, Vincent Peale reveals how anyone can unlock this transformative ability. And guess what? You don't need a miracle, just the right approach. Stick around because this could change your life. Ever feel like life's challenges keep piling up and no matter how hard you try, nothing seems to go your way? I've been there too. But let me tell you, discovering the power of positive thinking wasn't just a game changer, it was the game. This book taught me how to flip my mindset, take back control, and build a life I didn't just want but loved. By the end of this video, you'll know how to use these principles for yourself. We all know how easy it is to spiral into negativity. Think about it, one bad day at work, a single argument, or even a passing comment can stick in your head for weeks. The result? Self-doubt, procrastination, and a belief that maybe life just isn't in your favor. That's where Vincent Peale's The Power of Positive Thinking steps in. The book argues that this negativity isn't just a mental habit, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. But here's the catch, your thoughts are just that, thoughts. They don't have to control your life. A few years ago, I hit rock bottom. I was stuck in a dead-end job, constantly comparing myself to others, and letting fear rule every decision. One day, a friend handed me The Power of Positive Thinking. At first, I thought, great, another self-help book telling me to smile more. But what I found was different, it wasn't just about thinking happy thoughts. It was about rewiring my brain to see possibilities instead of obstacles. The power of visualization. One of the book's core ideas is visualizing success. Peale suggests that if you can vividly imagine achieving your goal, your mind will find ways to make it happen. I tried this with something small, landing a new client for my side hustle. Every morning, I spent 5 minutes imagining the email confirming the deal. Sounds silly, right? But within a week, that email showed up in my inbox. Coincidence? Maybe. But I'm convinced it worked because I started showing up with confidence, ready to deliver my pitch. Faith in yourself. Let me share something I've learned after 15 years of coaching professionals on time management. Believing in yourself isn't just motivational fluff, it's the engine that drives real productivity. When I first started working with Sarah, a startup founder in Seattle, she was putting in 14-hour days but feeling stuck. I keep spinning my wheels, she told me during our first session, and I can't shake the feeling that I'm not cut out for this. Sound familiar? Her story mirrors what research from the Harvard Business School found. 75% of high-achieving professionals struggle with self-doubt, even when they're crushing it by everyone else's standards. Here's what transformed Sarah's approach, and what I've seen work for hundreds of others since then, treating self-belief like a muscle that needs daily exercise. Think about how you learned to ride a bike. You didn't wake up one morning magically knowing how, you built that skill through practice, falls and all. A recent study in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology showed that people who view abilities as learnable skills rather than fixed traits accomplish 60% more of their goals. That's not just interesting data, it's a game changer for how you approach your day. Let me tell you about Mark, a client who managed a team of 50 at a tech company. He used to schedule back-to-back meetings from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., leaving no time for actual work or strategic thinking. His calendar was full, but his impact was empty. We started with what I call the Power Hour technique, blocking the first 60 minutes of each day for his most challenging task. No emails, no Slack, no interruptions. Just focused work on what matters most. The results? His team's productivity jumped 40% in 3 months. Why? Because when you trust yourself to handle the big stuff first, everything else falls into place. The psychology behind this is fascinating. Dr. Carol Dweck's research shows that our beliefs about our capabilities directly impact our performance. It's not just positive thinking, it's about creating evidence that builds real confidence. I recommend my clients keep what I call a wins inventory. Each Friday, spend 10 minutes writing down 3 things you handled well that week. They don't have to be huge victories, maybe you finally tackled that report you've been avoiding, or had a tough conversation you'd been putting off. Over time, these notes become proof of your capability, especially useful on days when self-doubt creeps in. One of the biggest time wasters I see isn't email or meetings, it's the energy we spend second-guessing ourselves. Jennifer, a marketing executive I worked with, spent hours overthinking every decision, afraid of making mistakes. We shifted her mindset by implementing what I call the 2-minute rule. If a decision will take less than 2 minutes to reverse if it goes wrong, make it immediately. This simple change freed up nearly 2 hours in her day and, more importantly, built her confidence in her judgment. The American Psychological Association backs this up. Their research shows that decision fatigue eats up about 20% of our productive time. Time management tools matter, but they're useless without the confidence to use them effectively. I recommend my clients start with the Pomodoro technique, 25 minutes of focused work, 5-minute break, but with a twist. Use those breaks to celebrate what you've accomplished, not just scroll through your phone. This builds what psychologists call self-efficacy, your belief in your ability to handle challenges. One client used this method to write a book while running her consulting business. The timer made the task feel manageable, she shared, and celebrating small wins kept me going when I wanted to quit. Your relationship with failure shapes how you use your time. Edison's famous quote about not failing but finding 10,000 ways that didn't work isn't just clever, it's a masterclass in productive persistence. My client David, a software developer, kept a failure resume alongside his regular one. Each setback went in there, along with what he learned. When he landed a dream job at a major tech company, the interviewer was more impressed by his ability to learn from mistakes than his successes. Here's a practical tip that's worked wonders for my clients, the future self technique. When planning your day, imagine you're scheduling for someone you deeply respect. Would you pack their calendar so tight they can't breathe? Would you let them waste their best hours on low-priority tasks? Treating yourself with that same respect leads to better time management decisions. One study showed that people who practice this make choices that benefit them 40% more often. Remember this quote from Maya Angelou, "You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated." In fact, it may be necessary to encounter the defeats, so you can know who you are, what you can rise from, how you can still come out of it. I've seen this play out countless times with my clients. The ones who succeed aren't the ones who never fail, they're the ones who use each setback to build stronger faith in themselves. Let's get real, building self-belief isn't about becoming some unstoppable force. It's about trusting that you can handle what comes your way, one task at a time. Start small. Block out that power hour. Keep that wins inventory. Celebrate the tiny victories. Use tools like the Pomodoro timer. I recommend Focus at Will for this, to build your confidence muscle. Connect with others who lift you up. Studies show your confidence levels mirror the 5 people you spend the most time with. The bottom line. Your time is valuable, but it's your belief in your ability to use it well that makes all the difference. Start treating self-belief as a crucial part of your productivity toolkit, right up there with your calendar and to-do list. Because when you trust yourself to handle what comes your way, you stop wasting time worrying and start spending it on what truly matters. The power of affirmations. After 20 years of helping people master their time, I've discovered something surprising. The most powerful productivity tool isn't a fancy app or complex system, it's what you tell yourself every morning. Let me share what I learned from working with Alex, a CEO who transformed her company's culture by starting with her own self-talk. I used to think affirmations were nonsense, she told me, until I saw how my negative thoughts were eating up 3 hours of my day in second-guessing and worry. Research from the Journal of Clinical Psychology backs this up. Professionals who practice positive self-talk show a 40% improvement in task completion rates. The science behind this is fascinating. Dr. Barbara Fredrickson's studies at UNC Chapel Hill reveal that positive self-talk actually changes your brain's neural pathways. When you regularly tell yourself, "I've got this," or "I can figure it out," you're not just giving yourself a pep talk, you're rewiring your brain's default response to challenges. This matters for time management because a brain trained for confidence makes decisions 60% faster than one clouded by self-doubt. I've seen this play out with hundreds of clients, including Maria, a project manager who cut her decision-making time in half after implementing what I call the Power Thought Protocol. Here's how it works. Start your day with 3 specific, action-focused statements. Not vague, "I am awesome," fluff, but concrete statements like, "I choose the most important task first," or "I make decisions quickly and move forward." Time yourself. This takes exactly 2 minutes. One of my clients, a surgeon named James, credited this practice with helping him handle complex procedures more efficiently. Instead of second-guessing every move, he shared, "I trust my training and experience. It saved me countless hours in the operating room." The real game changer comes when you pair these morning statements with what behavioral scientists call implementation intentions. Think of them as if-then plans for your brain. Instead of just saying, "I manage my time well," at a specific trigger, "When I start my workday, I tackle my most challenging task first." A study in the American Journal of Psychology showed this approach increases follow-through by 71%. Take Lisa, a lawyer I worked with last year. She combined, "I handle challenges efficiently," with a specific plan. "When I feel overwhelmed, I break the task into 25-minute blocks." Her billable hours increased by 30% in 3 months. The timing of these affirmations matters too. Research from Stanford's Behavior Design Lab shows that our brains are most receptive to new patterns in the first hour after waking. That's why I recommend using the golden hour method. Combine your morning routine with these powerful statements. Use apps like Affirmation Reminder or Morning Ritual, both free, to prompt you. One CFO I worked with set up his coffee maker to start brewing exactly when his affirmation reminder went off. He paired his physical and mental wake-up calls. But here's what most time management experts won't tell you: affirmations work best when they're tied to evidence. Each time you say, "I complete important tasks on schedule," recall a specific example of when you did exactly that. This creates what psychologists call a success loop. Each affirmation is backed by proof, making it more believable to your brain. Keep a victory log. I recommend the Day One app for this, where you record these wins. Mark, a tech entrepreneur I coached, reviewed his log every Sunday night. "It changed my whole approach to Mondays," he said. "Instead of dreading the week, I started it knowing I could handle whatever came up." The renowned psychiatrist Dr. Maxwell Maltz once said, "Your mind is a goal-striving mechanism. When you give it a definite target, it works automatically toward achieving that target." This perfectly captures why combining affirmations with time management works so well. You're not just organizing your calendar, you're programming your brain for success. One study found that professionals who use targeted affirmations alongside traditional time management techniques accomplished 43% more than those who relied on planning alone. Let's get practical. Start tomorrow morning with this power statement: "I choose my priorities wisely and act on them immediately." Write it down, say it out loud, and most importantly, follow it with immediate action. Pick your most important task for the day and work on it for just 25 minutes. Use the Focus at Will app. I recommend their alpha wave tracks to maintain concentration. This combination of mental preparation and focused action creates what I call a productivity cascade. One good decision leads to another. Remember, this isn't about becoming some productivity robot. It's about training your brain to work with you instead of against you. Another client, Sarah, put it perfectly: "These aren't just words, they're permissions I give myself to succeed." She went from constantly firefighting urgent tasks to proactively managing her time, all because she changed the conversation in her head. The bottom line: your time management skills will never outpace your self-belief. Start with your mental game, and the practical pieces fall into place naturally. Use tools like Rescue Time to track your progress, but remember, the most important tracker is how you feel about your ability to handle what comes your way. When you truly believe you can manage your time well, you do. It's that simple and that powerful. After all, your greatest productivity tool is the one between your ears. Eliminating negative thought patterns. Negativity is such a sneaky little thief, isn't it? One moment you're cruising through your day, feeling good, and the next, you're stuck replaying some awkward conversation from 3 years ago, like your brain is a DJ playing the most cringeworthy hits on repeat. It's exhausting, and worse, it doesn't get you anywhere. Norman Vincent Peale was spot on when he compared negativity to a leaky faucet. It's like drip, 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 each drop sapping your energy and focus until you're left with a puddle of self-doubt. But here's the thing: you don't have to let negativity have the last word. According to Peale, it's all about plugging that leak by shifting your perspective from dwelling on problems to focusing on solutions. I used to be the queen of overthinking, especially when it came to conversations. You know that horrible feeling when you leave a meeting or a chat and suddenly think, "Did I really say that? Did they think I was being weird?" It's like your brain decides to throw an unplanned post-game analysis, and spoiler alert, you're never the MVP. I'd lie awake, replaying every awkward pause and poorly worded joke, imagining how the other person must have judged me. It was like carrying around a highlight reel of my worst moments, and let me tell you, it's hard to feel positive when that's your mental playlist. Then I stumbled on Peale's advice, and it was like someone handed me the remote to my own brain. He suggested flipping the script by asking yourself 2 simple questions: what can I learn from this? And how can I do better next time? Sounds basic, right? But it's ridiculously effective. Instead of letting those awkward moments haunt me, I started treating them like learning opportunities. Messed up a joke. Cool, now I know that humor doesn't land. Awkward silence. Maybe next time I'll ask a better question. It's not about beating yourself up, it's about turning those cringeworthy moments into stepping stones. One of the most freeing things I learned was that most people aren't even paying that much attention to you. Seriously, think about the last time someone else said something awkward. How long did you actually dwell on it? Probably not long. People are way too busy worrying about their own awkward moments to remember yours. Once that clicked, it became so much easier to stop spiraling. Instead of replaying the what-ifs in my head, I'd say, okay, that happened. What's next? It's amazing how much lighter you feel when you let go of the need to be perfect. Peale also emphasizes the power of replacing negative thoughts with positive, actionable ones. It's not about ignoring reality or pretending everything is sunshine and rainbows. It's about choosing to focus on what you can control. Imagine you're stuck in traffic. You can sit there fuming, thinking, why does this always happen to me? Or you can use that time to plan your day, listen to an audiobook, or just breathe and enjoy the forced pause. The traffic doesn't change, but your experience of it does. That's the kind of shift Peale is talking about, finding the silver lining, no matter how small, and making the best of it. Let's get real for a second. Negativity loves company. The more you dwell on one bad thing, the easier it becomes to find 10 more things to stress about. It's like a snowball rolling downhill, gathering speed and size until it's completely out of control. But here's the catch, you can stop the snowball anytime you want. Peale's advice is like throwing a stick in its path. When a negative thought pops up, don't let it roll around unchecked. Challenge it. Ask yourself, is this really as bad as it seems? What's one thing I can do to make it better? That small act of questioning breaks the cycle and puts you back in control. Here's another thing Peale suggests, surround yourself with positivity. That doesn't mean you have to ditch your friends who vent or delete every mildly frustrating email. But it does mean being mindful of what you let into your mental space. If you're constantly scrolling through negative news or hanging out with people who only see the worst in everything, it's going to rub off on you. Instead, try curating your environment. Listen to uplifting podcasts, watch inspiring videos, or spend time with people who lift you up. It's like adding fresh water to that leaky faucet. It doesn't fix the problem entirely, but it makes things a whole lot better. One trick that's worked wonders for me is keeping a win journal. Every day, I jot down one thing that went well, no matter how small. Some days it's something big, like nailing a presentation. Other days, it's as simple as, didn't hit snooze 5 times. The point is to train your brain to notice the positives. Over time, it creates this amazing snowball effect, but in a good way. Instead of spiraling into negativity, you start spiraling into gratitude and possibility. Negativity isn't something you eliminate overnight. It's a habit, and like any habit, it takes time and effort to change. But the good news is, every little shift adds up. Every time you choose to focus on a solution instead of a problem, every time you replace a self-critical thought with a constructive one, you're strengthening your ability to stay positive. It's like building mental muscle, slow at first, but eventually, you'll look back and realize how far you've come. And honestly, isn't that worth the effort? Surrounding yourself with positivity. Have you ever noticed how spending time with certain people can feel like sunshine on a cloudy day, while others are like carrying around a wet blanket? It's not just a vibe thing, it's science. Vincent Peale wasn't kidding when he said the people around you heavily influence your mindset. Think of your social circle as a garden. You've got flowers that bloom with positivity and weeds that choke the life out of everything. The big question is, are you nurturing the flowers, or are you letting the weeds take over? Because, spoiler alert, your mindset is the garden, and what you surround yourself with directly impacts what grows. Here's a quick story to prove the point. Back in college, I had this group of friends who loved to complain. It wasn't just the occasional vent session, it was like a never-ending roast of life. Bad grades, annoying professors, horrible cafeteria food, you name it, they had a gripe about it. At first, I didn't think much of it. But over time, I noticed that their negativity was rubbing off on me. I started finding problems in everything, even things I used to enjoy. I'd sit in class thinking, why even try? This professor hates everyone. It was exhausting, and worst of all, it wasn't even my natural way of thinking. Then I met this one person, let's call her Sarah, who was the complete opposite. Sarah wasn't annoyingly cheerful or one of those good vibes only people who pretend everything is perfect. But she had this knack for seeing the silver lining in every situation. Got a bad grade. Guess I'll ask the professor for feedback and do better next time. Stuck in a boring lecture. At least it's warm in here, and I don't have to be outside in the cold. Hanging out with her felt like a breath of fresh air. It made me realize how much of my mindset was being shaped by the people I spent time with. Peale's advice to surround yourself with positivity is like choosing to hang out with the Sarahs of the world instead of the everything sucks crew. But it's not just about people, it's also about what you consume. Social media, for example, can be a double-edged sword. If your feed is full of people complaining, comparing, or just spreading negativity, it's going to affect you, whether you realize it or not. But if you fill your feed with uplifting quotes, inspiring stories, or even just cute dog videos, it can totally shift your mood. I actually did a social media detox a while back and unfollowed anyone who made me feel bad about myself or the world. The result? My scrolling sessions became mini boosts of happiness instead of spirals of doom. Now, let's talk about mentors because Peale is big on this. A mentor doesn't have to be some official title or a fancy professional connection. It can be anyone who inspires you or challenges you to be better. For me, one of my mentors was actually a podcast host I'd never met. Their episodes were filled with advice, personal stories, and encouragement that made me feel like I could conquer anything. Listening to those podcasts became part of my morning routine, and it set such a positive tone for my day. If you don't already have someone like that in your life, start looking. It could be a friend, a family member, or even an author whose books resonate with you. The point is to find someone who lifts you up and makes you want to grow. Peale also suggests surrounding yourself with positivity in the form of books. Now, I know what you're thinking. How much can a book really change my life? But hear me out. The right book at the right time can feel like having a conversation with someone who just gets you. For me, reading The Power of Positive Thinking was one of those moments. It wasn't just the advice, it was the stories, the examples, the way Peale made everything seem so doable. If you've ever felt stuck or unmotivated, picking up an uplifting book might be the reset button you need. Here's a practical tip that changed my life: do a social circle audit. It sounds intense, but it's basically just asking yourself, are my friends lifting me up or dragging me down? This doesn't mean you have to cut people out of your life entirely, but it does mean being intentional about how much time and energy you give to different relationships. If someone is always negative or draining, maybe you see them less often. And if someone makes you feel good about yourself or inspires you, make an effort to spend more time with them. Relationships are a two-way street, but it's okay to prioritize the ones that feed your soul. One thing Peale doesn't explicitly say but is worth noting: positivity isn't about avoiding hard things or pretending life is perfect. It's about having people and resources in your corner that help you face challenges with a better mindset. Think of it like a team. Would you rather go into a tough game with teammates who believe in you and cheer you on, or with people who are constantly pointing out what's going wrong? The answer's obvious, right? Life's tough enough without dragging along a negative support system. At the end of the day, surrounding yourself with positivity is one of the best investments you can make in your own happiness. It's not always easy. You might have to step out of your comfort zone to meet new people, unfollow a few accounts, or let go of old habits. But the payoff is so worth it. You'll start to notice that your mindset shifts, your energy improves, and life just feels a little brighter. And who doesn't want that? Audit your social circle. Are your friends lifting you up or dragging you down? Here's where it all comes together. Your thoughts create your reality. Peale explains this with a powerful metaphor. Imagine your mind is a garden. If you plant seeds of positivity, like confidence, gratitude, and faith, those are the plants that will grow. But if you let weeds of doubt and fear take over, they'll choke out everything else. And here's the kicker: you control what gets planted. So, what's the takeaway from the power of positive thinking? Your mindset is the foundation of everything you do. Visualize success, and your actions will follow. Replace negative thoughts with affirmations that build you up. Surround yourself with positivity to keep the momentum going. This isn't about pretending life is perfect. It's about equipping yourself with tools to face challenges head-on and come out stronger.